Hey guys, how's it going? I've been seeing a bunch of topic videos coming up online and a big debate going online regarding a particular topic, and I would like to do a video to address that particular topic. Before I do start, I do want to mention these are just my opinion, nothing more, nothing less. They are not intended to come off as offensive, although I will be saying a bunch of things that might seem offensive to hardcore fans, but it's not intentional. So if you do not like what you are hearing at any particular point, please turn it off and watch something else. But if you do like hearing what you're hearing, please carry on. So this video is regarding the upcoming meeting between Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios for the upcoming Spider Summit that they were having, where they'll be discussing the future of the Spider-Man franchise. First and foremost, Sony are not giving the rights back to Marvel anytime soon. Spider-Man is way too a profitable franchise to let go of it, even though they're not doing a good job of it themselves. But from what I hear, they're seriously hemorrhaging money. And the smart thing to do would be more or less to work side by side with Marvel Studios and just do a Spider-Man movie where Marvel has more of a creative say, since they'll be introducing him into their cinematic universe. They'll also probably have to reboot the franchise. Don't get me wrong, I would like the rights to go back. Maybe the rights will go back if they've made enough money to not need Spider-Man anymore. I do hope to see Spider-Man, X-Men, and Fantastic Four in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in my lifetime, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. So yes, they'll have to do a reboot, meaning that they'll have to do another origin. Or they won't have to do another origin, since Marvel are trying to step away from the origin scene. And as the animated series from the 90s suggests, you can do an origin. You can do a film without an origin, and for my money, if you were going to cast a new Spider-Man, my money would be on Asher Butterfield, the actor from Ender's Game. He's at that age that suits Peter Parker just right, and he's a great actor. If you were going to bring in another actor from the previous movies, my money would be on J.K. Simmons as Jake Jonah Jameson, and you all know why. I don't believe Tobey Maguire will be coming back anytime soon, because he's a family man, and I don't think that he would want to stay away from his family for an amount of time for just one movie. Andrew Garfield has more or less burnt his bridges at Sony. I know the petition is still going on, but petitions don't really work. I hate to say it, but there've been many petitions for TV shows, games, and movies, but not much has happened. I'm still waiting for the Dread 2 to come out with Carl Urban and with Carl Urban as Judge Dredd, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. I know he's a big fan of Spider-Man. He's my favorite thing in the TV show Sugar Rush Series 1, which I am still pissed off at Channel 4 for cancelling. But yes, he's a great actor, and I don't think that he'll be coming back as Spider-Man. However, I do hear that Marvel do want to speak to him about another character. For my money, if Andrew Garfield was to be cast in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it will be as Richard Rider, aka Nova. They have more or less the same personality. He's close to Peter Parker, anyway, and he's also he is also connected to Gamora from the Guardians of the Galaxy, so they can play that angle if they need to. Um, However, I also feel that they won't be bringing in Miles Morales anytime soon for a number of reasons. One is they've not done a definitive Peter Parker story yet. The other one is I fear that they might try and cast someone like Jaden Smith to play Miles Morales, and I think that would not be a great idea. The other reason is we still live in a world where race is an issue, unfortunately, and there's still been an issue when they introduced a new Spider-Man. Even from the non-comic book readers, there's still an issue with the casting for a black Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four reboot, and even more recently of Idris Elba when they were just talking about him possibly being the next James Bond. So until that is sorted, I don't see anything happening. Sony claimed they wanted to do the next Amazing Spider-Man movie more to be more like the Ultimate Universe, where the Ultimate Universe, and I mean Ultimate Universe as in Ultimate Comics, not that ridiculous animated TV show, which would not work if they even did a reboot. They cannot call it the Ultimate Spider-Man because a bunch of adults would not really want to watch a movie called Ultimate Spider-Man as well. The comics focused more on character development than heavy set pieces. Um, and that was a great concept. But the thing I love the most about Peter Parker is he's more or less a 17-year-old with the power of a god, and he has to deal with things like being Spider-Man and having to tackle schoolwork or homework. He has to be Spider-Man and tackle with all that responsibility and all that power, have to still allow himself to be bullied by someone like Flash Thompson, and also have to tackle something like trying to figure out how to help Aunt May with the next month's bills and other things like that. Mundane things that you and I would usually do. It's enhanced through the eyes of Peter Parker, but unfortunately, Sony gave us a movie with undeveloped plots, undeveloped subplots, and undeveloped villains. In the case of Amazing Spider-Man 3, the case of Amazing Spider-Man 2, three undeveloped villains. The other great thing I loved about Spider-Man were the web shooters. I really hope that they would do something spectacular with the web shooters, because the great thing about the web shooters are they run out. They run out when Peter Parker is chasing someone. They run out when somebody throws him off a building and he's trying to web onto something else. They will run out when he's trying to stop someone from chasing him. And the other thing is he also can make it changes, create different weapons, consistency, thickness, strongness, and other things like that. But unfortunately, Sony did not show us all of that in the movies. The other thing is, I feel they really screwed over Mark Webb. He's an extremely talented filmmaker that Sony just more or less hired as the face of the movie rather than hiring him for his directing skills. I would like to see Mark Webb's original cut of The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and I would like to see him maybe do a third one at a point. Because Spider-Man is a great character that came from the mind of Sam Raimi, who wrote comic books more or less for himself rather than write it for fans. And we all gravitated towards it because there was always something that he did, because he's responsible for the Marvel Universe. There was always something that he did in one of his books that drew us to him, like how it drew Sam Raimi to doing the Spider-Man movie. Unfortunately, he got screwed over by Sony whilst he was doing Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man 4. I mean, so Marvel Studios has given someone like James Gunn, an indie type filmmaker, full creative freedom to do a movie with a gun-toting raccoon and a talking tree. But unfortunately, Sony cannot give could not give Mark Webb that freedom. And Kevin Feige, James Gunn credits Kevin Feige for giving him so much creative freedom. I mean, check out the commentary in Guardians of the Galaxy. One more thing I'll say: if they're doing a reboot, please, for the love of all things that is good and pure, do not involve Avi Arad and Matt Tomac. Primarily, Avi Arad. There is no room in a Spider-Man franchise for Spider-Man and Avi Arad's ego. Give it give the responsibility to people like Kevin Feige or Louis D'Esposito or possibly even the Russo brothers. These are people who know how to handle characters and know how to handle great story and great plot. So they'll be in the better position to handle something like the Spider-Man franchise, in my opinion. As I said, the plot from the Amazing Spider-Man series would not work in the cinematic in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There are way too many things in it that will stop it from working. And you cannot bring Spider-Man into Civil War because everything has been locked down. The script has been locked down. Cast, locations, and everything has been locked down. So I do not see Spider-Man making an appearance in the Civil War movie. But I might be wrong. Who knows? Next off, point out that Spider-Man can make friends easily. The fact that he's friends with people like Iron Man, the fact that he does not get on with someone like Captain America because Captain America believes he's too young to be being a crime fighter and other things like that. And also point out the fact that he's got a fantastic rogues gallery. He's got a phenomenal rogues gallery, one of the best. But what I'll say is do not focus heavily on people with superpowers. Focus on the other characters that rely more on like exosuits or something like tech, basically. People who rely more on tech rather than focus on the superpowered villains. Don't focus on people like Green Goblin at all or Electro. People with powers, don't focus on them at all. Focus on the lower tier villains. So we know that the Daredevil TV show is coming up sometime soon. So you could somehow fit it in that reality. So just put it, like I said, Peter Parker is a 17-year-old boy with the power of a god. So this 17-year-old boy with the power of a god is interrupting a bunch of gangsters or mobsters, interrupting their business, interrupting their money, and everything like that. And you could also point out that there might be a turf war or something happening because you have characters in the Daredevil reality or in the Daredevil plots like Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin, who is one hell of a character, one hell of a businessman, and other things like that. You have other characters like Silvermane, another great gangster. You have another character like the Owl, who I know is also going to be in the Daredevil TV show. And you have someone else like Hammerhead, although I think Hammerhead is more of a henchman than a gangster. So you can just put all of them in a turf war and throw Spider-Man right in the middle of it and have him basically, so that have the villains be villains and not have the villains being Spider-Man villains, so that it will focus more on them hating him and wanted to beat the hell out of him. Bring in other villains like Rhino. I mean, OG Rhino, classic Rhino in the bodysuit, not that rubbish Rhino in the mech suit, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. You can also bring in characters like Shocker. You could bring in characters like Tombstone, that will challenge Spider-Man. Characters that don't have superpowers, but but Spider-Man can find it hard to challenge them and other things like that. My favorite moment is in the Ultimate Comic Book blockbuster where Spider-Man is knocked down. He's looking up and he sees Daredevil and he says, "Get the hell out of my kitchen." That's a great scene in that comic book. What I think to get directors is to get TV directors for Amazing Spider-Man 2. And my choices are directors for the UK show known as Some Girls. Is primarily focused on comedy, but they are good directors. My other choices are the directors of Ray Donovan. They know how to tackle drama very well. So I'll say hire a TV director from Ray Donovan to do to do the Spider-Man reboot. And there you have it, guys. That's basically everything I have to say about the Spider-Man franchise. I hope I have not offended most of you. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe as well.